Hello and welcome to Michael and Ivanka's Grand Podcast, a weekly podcast where we figure out what we think about everything. My name is Michael Forrest.
And I'm Ivanka Majic.
And this week we have decided to talk about what to work on because I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed by that question. It's the price of freedom is having to try and choose something that you think is going to work and not know if you're going to get paid. Your choice depends. I guess if you're in a job, if you make a choice of what to work on, you're going to get paid either way. Might eventually get fired, whereas if you're working on your own thing, you really have to choose the right thing to work on, because otherwise you're just not going to get paid. You were talking about a quote to do some passions and all that.
Apparently, as luck would have it, as we were discussing this, one of my friends posted. She's an artist. She said, "It's a quote from Michelangelo." She said, "Your gifts lie in the place where your values, passions, and strengths meet. Discovering that place is a step towards sculpting your masterpiece." Your life.
And that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Is your life a masterpiece? I don't know. I don't know if mine is. I'm trying to make it at least, not trash, hack trash. Try and do something useful.
I think the what to work on does allow not just the what are the bits that people are going to pay you for, but also all those other things. Like I've got a big long list of making bread and learning more crochet skills and making my garden flourish and saving the planet and whatever else that just sits there fighting for my attention.
Fighting for attention.
Time I have. And being fighting for attention using guilt bombs.
Yeah, and how many things can you really be expected to do in your one life? And how do you make sure that you're not always just trying to get this thing out of the way so I can get to the thing I actually want to do? And then when you're doing that, you're just trying to get that out of the way so I can do the thing that I actually want to do, which feels like a lot of how my time is spent. So that's I don't know. Let's see how that conversation goes.
Yeah.
Let some music come up and go. So, right. What's the best thing that happened to you last week?
Took my husband to the dermatologist, and it's true.
Damn it, Ivanka Majic. Okay.
Why?
Oh, so it was a very effective trip.
It was. I was really worried that there was something wrong with him after his flaky head incident at the last dermatologist trip. Okay. And this dermatologist explained it all very nicely, froze off the things, and the big cancer word wasn't mentioned at all. It was more of a preventative protection activity. So,
okay.
So, you, Michael Forrest.
I'm just always hoping for I don't know what I'm hoping for. What it's just life, innit? It's just life, innit?
It's priorities, Michael
safety,
Forrest. All these things that longevity, I could do. Highfalutin bollocks like writing a book, when actually all I really care about is that my friends and family, particularly my family, friends, are well.
And the fact that you got back into your book, not as important.
It's a bonus. Massive bonus, but yeah, not as important as and the efficiency of the trip. I cannot tell you, that was also a delight because I was able to come back and work. I was only gone for a little while. Anyway, what about you, Michael Forrest? What highfalutin creative thing was the best thing that happened to you this week?
That's the problem, isn't it? Because I'm actually gonna tell you something I already told you about earlier. I just survived last week. I'm gonna go because it's 2 weeks since we've done one. Just the fact that I survived 2 weeks ago when I had suffered a sequence of accidents. One was where I managed to fall off my bike, and I've still got some bruises. I was limping for a couple of days. I just got slipped off the pedals and the seat forward, and just found myself in this strange position, going too fast, trying to not hurt myself too much, and got tangled up. And some sort of nearby good 2 people came over and from different sides and were wanted to help and make sure I was okay, and that was really nice.
Did you let them help you?
Well, there wasn't a lot they could do really. I was I just, because I was sat there just I don't know if I can actually move. I was on the floor, I sort of pulled myself onto the curb, and I was I don't know. And then 3 days after that, I managed to pull an entire cup of hot black coffee onto my head and a load of my music gear. permanently injuring one piece, which is a synth that basically, luckily, they're really good on repair. So instead of like £1,000 for a new synth, it's going to be like 140 quid from iFixit.com to get the replacement part. Because it got a little splash of coffee on it. And then just because I didn't want the third thing to be a driving lesson accident. I made sure that I had a different kind of accident where I spilt like soup all over my expensive wireless headphones. So I did that, and luckily they survived. So just the fact that I survived without crashing a car and having a proper accident and really got away with this bike. I was like, the next day I was kind of like, okay, I was going upstairs again without like limping, and 2 days later it's like, wow. So I'm quite proud of myself for
very good.
being in sufficiently good health that none of that was too much of a disaster. So I guess the problem with having a more concise how are you section is that the first break is probably a bit premature. Should we just get back into the subject straight away?
Editing on the fly.
The other main thing I've been having trouble is with choosing what to work on, but yeah.
I think that's been my choosing what to work on is really hard, in my opinion. And it's not just working, it's doing always. Like choosing what to do. So in any given day, there's about 1,000 things I'd like to do, or 1,000 little rabbit holes that I have to stop myself running down. Somebody says a word that I've not heard before, or something. I'm like, oh, what does it mean? I must go and investigate for half an hour, or I really need a. So yeah, that's one. I don't know whether that's. Oh, I suppose it's more of a try. It's also in the choosing what to work on is also a making yourself stop. I think for me, with my crazy monkey brain, there's a bit of a stop looking that up. It's not your priority for the day. It's not what you need to be doing. But I don't know how closely that relates to just procrastinating in general. Yeah. So
something I've noticed with the things I'm excited about that I want to do is it just seems like whatever audiobook or podcast or YouTube video I just watched, that's what I want to do. I want to do some of that. So I'm like, this week I've been listening to Seth Godin's Tribes book, and it's like how to find your tribe. I'm like, oh, what's my tribe? And then I have a really clear, exciting idea about what my tribe could be, and then I sort of get excited about that, and I want to talk about it and find out if anyone's interested or feels like they would join that tribe, and then. Like a day goes by and I'm like, Jesus, how does this fit into anything else, really? Come on, Michael. Like, you're already committed to like I'm constantly in a state of like, I need to consolidate and reduce down to one or two things and just try and keep working on those. But, I decided that I needed to work mostly on the app. I'm really struggling to care about it this week. For the last 2 weeks I'm just like, it's just like I've just been doing what you're talking about, like what can I tinker with, I'm just procrastinating, like I'm just gonna like update my analytics stuff, I'm just gonna spend most of the morning just getting my email system, and it's like, just fucking fix the feature that people keep asking you for, like just do that and then you'll be able to do that. And like so I don't know, like I suppose there's a bit of we've covered before, is that sort of like rebellious thing where you do choose where now, okay, this is what I have to do, that immediately like you just want to do anything but that sometimes. So.
Yeah, I do have that, since we did the professionalism conversation. I do have that quote from your dad, that professionalism is doing things even when you don't feel like it, on my computer, on my screen. Like, don't forget. But I think, like, for me, that whole, like, so the getting carried away with the latest thing you read, I think is, I mean, I don't know if I I'm exactly. I don't read many how-to things like that. I'm not in that same mode as you at the moment, so I can't remember how I react to things like that. But it's like I do believe in the value of the gestation period. It's
Yeah.
like I've read something. It's really interesting. I feel like I should do something about it. It feels like I've got a call to action of some description. Hang on a minute. before you do anything, before you quit your job or I don't know, change the direction, like leave it for a minute. And I think that frustrates the hell out of my husband because, we'll find out something new, and like let's say some new material for something we're doing on the house.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's like, well, should we do that then? I don't know yet. He's like, what do you mean? What are you doing? Why don't you know yet? I was like, I don't know. I need to think about it. And so there's a which I think results in a lot of inaction. But I don't know if that's good inaction or bad inaction. I really don't know.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like you have to, because I think like the things that you want to do are often going to kind of result in something more interesting than the thing you've decided in. Like the plan you make. The decision you make up front, you go, okay, that's my strategy. That's what I'm working on. But then there's this whole, you've got to be able to sort of like veer off the path and do something that you're excited about and that you're passionate about, because that's what's going to be the best stuff. But yeah, like just to like, it's like, it's not just like, oh, how do I find my tribe in marketing? It's like freaking, I'm listening to an interview with a musician. It's like, I've got to go and write some songs. And then I watch something on TV. It's like, I wish I could make a TV show. I should start a script. Or like everything I see. And then there's part implicit in that is I'm comparing myself to every single person who is a master in their field and just coming up short against all of them and making myself sad. Like, and it's only occasionally that I remember to go, okay, look, you can't be... You need to like pick a lane and just like try and get really good at that thing and stop like beating yourself up for not being good at that thing over there. Like that's all they do. Just chill. Like you don't have to be that. You don't have to do that as well. Like just do the thing. And it's like having that confidence in your own self and what you're doing is I find really difficult.
I think that's. I mean, I think in the book world, like because I've decided to write this book about how to do user research, and that's really what it is. It's like what do you have to do? It's like I think the best analogy I've got going at the moment is like it's a cookery book. Follow these steps and you'll bake a perfect piece of research. But that's a helpful analogy because it stops me whittering on about stuff that's not relevant. Anyway, but because I've decided that, I'm sort of I am at the moment, now that I've committed to writing the book, and I think there's been a lot of lack of commitment on my part. Like, the idea sounds good, but I'm slightly afraid. I am afraid, therefore, it's very scary for me, and therefore I've been like pushing loads of reasons around not to finish it and not to, just like. Not being able to give it the time to work on it. But now that in the last few weeks, as it's becoming few weeks, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, where I've been actually having a better time of it, I've accepted that I'm going to write this as a expert. Something's gone weird.
Yes, I just pressed a button in the wrong window. Don't worry.
So like even this morning I saw an article. Even this morning I saw an article. I was much more able to go, I can't read that now. And also the not being like I cannot know all the things, and I can't do all the things. I just can't. I just can't, and it's really hard. But because I want to know all the things, I really do. Yes. Maybe that's something we should be more celebratory of. It's like, how isn't it brilliant that we live in a world right now where there's enough stuff going on that we, as individual humans, are interested in all this stuff.
Yeah, there's
and we're not sitting there going, "Oh my god, it's all too hard and too boring, and I don't want to." Whatever it might be.
And my fear is, you do look at any Renaissance person of any sort. Like you look at freaking Da Vinci's stuff, and it's like mostly like half-baked sketches, isn't it? It's mostly stuff he never got around to, and
Yeah.
but I'm a bit scared of that. Like, I really respect the kind of sticking with and finishing things, and I will beat myself up a lot if I keep like moving and pivoting and doing something new. Let me put a break on. We're going to make this a concise one today.
Okay, let's do it.
I put some. Oh, that was an abrupt audio shift. I put I sort of. I didn't have any good phone footage this week, so I put some music videos that I'd done into the thing, although they seem significantly louder than the rest of it. Sorry. I was thinking there's 3 parts to this choosing this what to work on question. One is the choosing, which is that like there is a choice paralysis, and there is that loss of the things that you're not doing. It's like, oh, if I do this, then I can't do this. If I'm doing this with my time, I'm not doing 20 million other things that I'd really like to be doing. Then there's like the sticking with it is part of that. Don't keep choosing another thing every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which I constantly feel like I'm failing at. And then there's the and with the goal of finishing the thing. So it's like you choose it, and then like you find yourself like 6 months later going, I still haven't finished this thing I decided to do 6 months ago, and it's doing my head in. And the only way I'm going to finish it is if I promise myself a Transformer toy.
Yeah, I don't know what my reward is going to be when I finally finish my book. It's a massive reward. Yeah, I think the I think that there's also, maybe it's a classification thing. So some things are never going to be done, like learning new things. And it's like, if you could put maybe some of those like ideas into the, I want to learn about this box. So you don't actually have to finish it or do it or create an output or build a thing or make a thing. You're just going to poke or tinker, sketch.
Yeah.
Be more, be Da Vinci about it.
Yeah.
And just like, poke it around a bit. Oh, right, okay, that's how it works. Brilliant. Okay, moving on. There's that sort of box, isn't there? I was talking to somebody regarding my stitch and bitch recently, and she doesn't know how to knit. And she's like, she wasn't sure if she would just come until she learned how to knit. And once she'd learned how to knit, then she would no longer be interested in knitting. She wasn't sure like whether her brain would actually be interested enough in it. Because there's loads of things in that. There's like the self-improvement-y stuff as well, where, you know, be it fitness or healthy eating or just things you want, look into just because I want to know about them.
Yeah.
And then there's the box of things that you have to do because there is a reason you need to finish them, because you're going to get paid, because it's going to lead to your next job, because you've agreed with somebody or whatever it might. So they're like that. You've just got to. There's no, and I mean, this is veering dangerously to that must do, can do, should do, that prioritization thing.
Yeah, or I was thinking like reacting, like acting, like that kind of thing as well. Like, am I just reacting to everything, or am I actually setting aside time to focus on something I've chosen to focus on?
Yeah. And then I've got this other sort of like section where my, I don't know, hobbies, activities I do in a day, life. So there's like family life things that have to be prioritized. Like, you know, if the child needs help with the homework, then you got to do the help with the homework type thing, isn't it? But then there's the garden. Like, you can never do enough gardening. You know what I mean? Like, it's never done. And but I also cannot have a pristine, perfect garden because I don't have time to have a pristine, perfect garden. It's not the only. So it's like I don't know, maybe there's a standard to which I can, like, my book has got to be as perfect as I can make it, because it's going to get printed. People are going to
Yeah.
read it, and then they're going to write about it, and they're going to go, oh, that was rubbish, or that was brilliant, or oh, it's useful, or whatever. But like my garden, okay, so this year I might not have a load of lettuce. Does it matter? So what? It's just, it's like, what are the, so maybe it's the sort of more understanding that, what if I don't do this? What am I
Yeah,
going to lose?
is it really gonna be so bad if I yeah.
If you don't find your tribe, let's say, if that's the latest thing that's inspired you.
This is 2008, this book, so it's not the latest thing by any means.
But it's like, but you know what I mean? It's like, okay, so if I don't work this bit out, what's actually going to change? Or if I do, like, what, does the gain outweigh the loss? I don't know.
Yeah, and also like, and sometimes that, like, there's the sort of things we want to do, like, I just want to figure out how Phoenix Live View, how I would integrate a React component into Phoenix Live View. And I go, and then I tell myself, like, I do it because I love, like, learning how to do a new thing, because you get that little dopamine thing, or I just figure something out. And then on top of that, I'll be like, then I'll have something I do have to do that I have decided that I want to get done. And I'll be like, right, I learned how to do that when I was tinkering around. And so it all connects, and all of these disparate things sort of start merging into a, they all come in handy one way or another. But there's those things that you sort of like are distracted by, but then there's like, it's harder, I think, to step back and go, like, why? What is the outcome? Why is this important? Why do I need to focus on this? Why am I choosing this? Do I have to picture my 6-month plan? How much money do I need? Or like, where do I want to be? Or what are the lifestyle changes I want to be able to unlock? And how do I work back from that to what I do? And there's that sort of the why behind everything that that sometimes gets, you just, probably someone would ask you, why are you doing that? And you'd be like, I don't know, just saw it. It was just there. Like,
I think that's part of I think it's a personality type as well. Like,
okay,
I know lots of bits and pieces about lots of things, and I just do, and I like it, and it keeps growing, and I'll go, I read this thing the other day, and that's just sort of part of who I am. Sorry, I was relaxing. And I'm not sure that everybody is bothered, I'm quite good in a
distractible in the same way.
Like, oh, shiny thing, magpie, knowledge magpie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fact.
And I think, do you think maybe the reason, I think a lot of people like suffer from this self-belief that they can't, that's out of that. I could never figure that out. I could never understand. I could never do that. I could never make a garden that looks nice. I could never learn how to make a bread.
But I think I am envious of people who I'm not saying that this is a personality type that's better at all. I'm just, because I can be very envious of the people who have the drive. You watch them like develop their career. Like, my God, what must it be like to have such a clear picture in your head of where you want to be? And it's like, and I'm just not that person.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like, so maybe that one of those people would be an interesting person to ask. Yeah. Like, how do they eliminate the
indecision and but that, I mean, the reason I said that was because I'm exactly in the same place. I just look at people that have just chosen to do one thing, stuck with it, followed it through, like kept going through thick and thin, and now they're known for it. And like, I'm like, but that's why I was sort of like, but it's also, that they should learn how to be more distracted, or that's a different thing. There's the dedicated focus. I'm choosing how to become a master of something, but then I think there's also I can possibly learn that thing, and you sort of get addicted once you realize that all of these things are available to you to trying more and more of those different things, I suppose.
But and I think that the other aspect of it for me personally is that I'm not happy if I only focus, if I'm too narrowly focused, or I don't have time to step out of whatever I'm doing. Well, maybe that's not true. Maybe if I'm properly into something, I need those other things. Otherwise, I kind of make myself ill. I go too far.
Yeah.
So if I'm too, so I can become like, I don't know, like, don't move and then all my body breaks,
Yeah.
or I don't know, spend too much time doing. I don't know if I could spend too much time gardening. That'd be interesting.
I don't know.
I
Let me
don't
put a
know. I
little
don't know.
break in. Now.
So the other thing I wrote on my little page of scribbles when we were having a chat about what this podcast would be about 3 minutes ago, there was when you said, "Oh, is that I'll just finish this thing, and then I'll be, then I'll be able to work on that thing that I'm
The next
actually
thing.
wanting to work. The next thing that's
Yeah.
really the one that I'm going for." And I think that there is this whole happiness contentment thing. It's like, this thing that I'm working on now is the thing. This is the life. This is the project. This is the job. This is the garden, whatever it might be. And that next thing isn't it's nothing to do with my happiness right now, because it's not even happened, and we don't know.
Well,
It's like,
I think Alain de Botton would have something to say about this, because it's the he talks about it in terms of relationships, but the relationship you're in, all of the foibles, or like, I want to work on this. I've had this idea for this platform, and I'll build my own emailing thing, and then I can I can learn about all the different people that are using my app, and I can start like segmenting them based on the different, and just learn and look what they've written in the thing and look at my quiz responses, and then you find yourself spending a whole morning trying to make a workable tagging UI and looking at Elixir error messages that you're just like, I cannot be bothered to do this right now, and I've made something that I'm not happy with that I want to spend another day on, and all of its ugly details once you start working on it. Whereas that next thing has that kind of like glow of like, you don't know what's inside there yet. And
mystery.
and it just looks like, it's like a person that you see, that you've sort of got this idealized version of them, that, oh wow, that, but then once you're in a relationship with them, like, you learn all of those things that annoy you, and you realize that, like, it's not going to be this magical thing. Not that I'm saying that about, certainly not true of my current relationship, which is wonderful, but I'm just saying that you can but like, certainly for work, it's definitely, I find a really troublesome syndrome that the day-to-day stuff is, I go, oh, I'm just gonna, because I said for my shoot app, I'm gonna add in the ability to have presets, and then I was like, okay, well, I am my time. I've just been listening to that book, and I'm not going to be trying to race through this and get it finished. I'm going to experience and work on it, and then that means I just want it to be nice. So I want it to have a little video preview in that little box when you look at it, rather than you just type in a name and save it. That'll be cool. And then like 2 weeks go by, and I'm like, I need to re-architect how it takes the video feed in, and I'm really scared that it's going to break people's app, and I'm looking at all these error messages, and I'm really struggling to like work on it because I'm scared to work on it. And it was because I wanted to do a good job. Suddenly I've unlocked even more like painful details. It's just but that's the substrate. That's just the reality. And I've always thought of it as like the first 80%, or the first. What was nice when I was the boss and I had a team was I could just do the fun bits, and then they would do all the ongoing, relentless freaking bug fixing, which just takes time. And like, maybe that's the thing. It's like, do the fun bits and delegate the tedious
maybe
bits.
That's it. Or the bits you find tedious. Yeah, I think there's a couple of entertaining analogies. The one about the relationship, it's like there is that bit of the the difference between fancying somebody and being in a relationship with somebody. Like the fancying somebody is 99% fantasy.
Yeah. Because you don't know,
So
do
it can
you?
be
You don't have any
brilliant. It can be
information.
amazing because you've made it all up.
Yeah.
And your relationship requires some effort, but the reward of that effort is that sort of intimacy, the knowing somebody, that it's real and it's happening right now. This person is talking to you and is your friend and is holding your hand or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And but it's like it's full on real.
Yeah.
That
And
is good.
And a term I wanted to just like touch on was this the role of habits and routines in all of this, and I think like something goes from being a sort of fantasy to part of your routine, and that can be and like the thing I would miss, it would, there's all those things that we just start to rely on that maybe, and the danger is like you start to take someone or something for granted, like I start to take for granted that I can choose what I want to do. I forget that it's only 2.5 years ago that I didn't have that choice. And like the trouble is we stop seeing the stuff that isn't novel anymore, even if it is providing us a sort of bedrock of, it has our kind of like general quality or sense of agency or sense of control may have sort of risen up a bit, but that's so gradual that you can almost not notice it. But yeah.
I think for me the book writing and I have no book writing habits.
Right, yeah.
I don't know how to write a book. I've never written a book. And it's like, I know about user research. I can talk about it endlessly. Get me on a training course, I can teach you all sorts of things because I'm relying on, my whole method relies on interaction. That's the way I run a course. That's the way I do things. I don't have any of this. There's no comfort for me in writing this book. It doesn't look like anything I've done before. Do you know what I mean? It's just, there's no contentment and comfort and focus on this thing because you're safe over here. It's like I'm not going back to that cozy. And I mean, even with your irritation and fear and all the bits around the fixing a bug in your app, the reason you're getting I think like there is comfort in doing things that you're good at, but also knowing that what all of the things about this complex thing which is building an app also lets you know all the things that could go wrong. So you've like got that like, I've got, if I start that, I've seen this movie.
That's something that puts you off choosing something, isn't it?
So like, God,
so maybe as we get older, we're more prone to kind of seeing a bit more of that and going, and I think I am like, sometimes I hear someone say, if we just do that, I'd be like, but then you'd. Just that, even the thought experiment of being like having all the money in the world and being able to buy as many this and that, and then going, but then I'd just be like dealing with a property manager and construction people, and that would become the substrate of my life. And is that what I want? Probably not.
I think
Let me put a break in.
That's massively the problem.
Massively the problem. All right, enough of that. That's a Peanuts song. When I'm trying to figure out what to do, or when I'm trying to figure out, like, some of it is choosing the project, but implicit in that is choosing the routine. And so I'll always have this thing of like, the way I'll always be thinking about it is, okay, if I spend, what I'm going to do, I'm going to spend 3 days a week working on Shoot. I'm going to spend Thursdays working on Squares TV. Fridays is podcast and like a free swim. And I'll just do what I feel like, have my 20% time. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. And then that's how I want to like design a routine. But then you kind of start doing it, and then you realize, I am never getting this. I've just spent my day of my fun project working on something really boring, and now I feel like, and now I'm not allowed to work on it for another week. I've been robbed of that kind of like fun time. Last week it was really fun, my Thursday. This week it was like I didn't know what to do, and I was tired. I woke up really early at like I always want to design, and then I'm like, yeah, okay, so I need a system where I can design like a month routine. Like the original idea was, okay, I do 1 week on this project, I do 1 week on this thing, I do 1 day a week on that thing. And like I'm always trying to design this schedule, this routine for myself. To just like, and then because you're only going to get the stuff done if you know when you're going to do it. I don't think you're ever going to get anything done if you don't know when. And then once it's like, okay, mornings I've got to work on my book. Okay, I'm not allowed to do anything but work on my book. I'm really probably going to have to figure out some sort of post-it note system or printing out system if I'm actually going to get anywhere with this. But it sucks.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Also, now you're sharp and I'm blurry. What's happening?
Yeah, I don't know. But the routine thing, it all boils down to time. It's all about time. It's like there's the things that you got to fit it all in around the things that you absolutely can't avoid, like sleeping and seeing your family and staying well and all these kind of things. And then it's all got to fit in around all that. And then it's like, and having a deadline, those kind of things, that helps. But yeah, routine is something I struggle with massively because it's just, and it's I'm in that stage of life where I'm not in control of my routine entirely because like dogs, child, life, all sorts. And I think none of us are massively in charge of our routines at the moment because the bloody COVID coming in with its peaks and troughs. Messing with everything, but yeah, I think time.
It's the thing that when I'm in a job that I don't want to be in, I just feel like I'm being most robbed of. And I saw it put in an interesting way as well. I was reading that rich person book, and like money has this sort of unlimited ceiling, really.
Yeah.
Like, so as you get richer, time becomes more and more of a commodity because you can't make any more time. You can sort of try and optimize with like tax, working in a cab or like going, but it doesn't have that sort of like infinite ceiling that money seems to have. So, someone like the richer you got, like the more you'd be like, oh my God, this is like how I'm spending every day. And you end up with, you end up in a weird situation because it becomes more and more and more precious, doesn't it? And like suddenly you go, oh, I should have paid for that course that would have taught me how to make better. I don't know, like I'm sort of half quoting some remembered thing, but time, you're not getting any more of it.
No. So you might as well,
Which is why I'm like, I have a very strict workout, routine and dietary situation because I'm just hoping, at least I can, not drinking, not smoking, not doing. At least I can buy myself a little bit more time through that way. Maybe like if I can stay healthy for a few more years, then there's a bit more hope of getting some of these things finished. But I just feel like I'm at the bottom of this snowdrift with a shovel, and by the time I've actually shoveled the thing out, it's not what I wanted it to be anyway. And like it's just exhausted, to be honest. Like,
I'm not yet.
Well, that's good.
I'm not having that week.
Well, I've just had a few too many weekends of like working through the week. I'm not working because I'm not tracking my time, but I'm still like figuring out loads of the music stream stuff, and I've just been going at it. And I knew that it would. I thought maybe if it's a contrasting style of work, it won't wear me out. And then like this week, I'm like, everything's gone a bit black and white. Everything's gone a bit grey for me. So
But
when you try and do too much. When you try and do too much, you stop appreciating the little things as well, the little details of the things.
So, just for my little closing thought on this subject. So last week we had some friends visit that we haven't seen for a couple of years.
Yeah,
And it was really nice. The whole family are all friends, and I had time off. I stopped in the afternoon and sat in the sunshine with my crochet, and we had little chats in the garden, sun, bit of beer, some depends on what was going on, and one of my friends, the husband, he sort of goes, I can't imagine our other friends sitting there and just not doing anything, like just sitting there and crocheting and not thinking about or talking about the next thing. And I think, I think that's a bit of the trick as well. It's like when you do have an hour, or you do have a holiday, or you do have the thing, that sort of whole meditation Buddhist nonsense of just being there is not a bad one. Just, you have got this time, so just sit in the sun and do a bit of crochet. That's what I say.
Experience the world. I was trying to do that a bit more recently, and I'm just going to go and have a chocolate bar in a field, and that is going to be how what I'm going to achieve. At least go home for lunch, at least do something. So this is our concise episode. Is still going to come in at 45 minutes. So let's
must try harder.
I'm going to
Thank you for giving us 45 minutes of your time listening to our podcast.
Yes, thank you. All right, titles. Thanks for listening. If you like the podcast, go to grandpodcast.com and find out everything. I heard about this. Someone said, rate your podcast, ratethispodcast.com thing. So I think rate this podcast. I think we need should we say ratethispodcast.com/grandpodcast? I don't know. Because I think it's quite hard to find where to review a podcast. But if people want to find you on the internet, Ivanka, where can they find you?
Find me at Ivanka on Twitter.
Swell.
That's where. What about you, Michael?
I don't know. I'm whoring myself out day and night on the internet, and then 3 people, 1 person turns up, 2 people turn up. So you'll find me if you. I've got Discord. I'm trying to build that up, but just come to squares.tv or just come to squares.tv.
Squares.tv is a good place to go.
Sign up. Give me your email.
Some nice videos.
Yeah, some interviews. I've done some good work on it. And so, that's the end of the episode. We're still trying to figure out what the new podcast is.
Yes. But we're getting closer. That was a good meeting.
We had a bit of a meeting this week. Broke things open a little bit again, but hopefully to make it a bit more of a thing it's that thing.
Yeah.
What to do, what to work on, making sure it's something that we want to work on. Learn from this one.
Oh my God,
do the next thing. Huh?
Yes. I was going to say that's really the reason it's sometimes quicker to just get on and do something.
Yeah.
Because it takes time and effort to work out if you should be.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're going to be wrong either way, in my opinion. So you might as well just jump in.
All right. We need to stop talking.
Yeah,
Michael.
Stop talking. All right. I'll play the outro music. Bye, 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 bye.